We live. FlyNubianQueens.com, FlyNubianKingTV.com. Listen live or log on. I'm Aaron Smith, the rapping professor, and I'm reporting live to the people. And we got to talk today. Okay, let's get it right on our way. The article that made me think about this last year, I saw an article that said MLK's children reveal his undelivered speech. America may go to hell. MLK's children reveal his undelivered speech. America may go to hell. And I thought about the Reverend Wright situation when he said, "Goddamn America." And I was like, there goes the article, the link right there. I just want to read a little bit so we can get started with the conversation for today. I don't want to waste any time. You want to get your business right, FlyNubianBusiness.com. Want to get your money right, FlyNubianMoney.com. But he puts it in biblical context when he talks about, America going to hell. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad talks about the destruction of America and the end of the devil's rule on the planet Earth. And Martin Luther King puts it this way when he was addressing the people at the Masonic Temple, basically on the same premise of the speech he was working on at the time of his death. He says, Jesus reminded us of a magnificent parable one day that a man went to hell because he didn't see the poor. His name was Dives. Dives? D-I-V-E-S. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I'm going to say Dives. Dives. I'm going to say Dives. I'm going to say tomato. No. And there was a man by the name of Lazarus. Lazarus who came daily to his gate in need of the basic necessities of life. And Dives didn't do anything about it, and he ended up going to hell. There is nothing in that parable which says that Dives went to hell because he was rich. Jesus never made a universal indictment against wealth. It is true that one day a rich young ruler came to him talking about eternal life, and he advised him to sell all. But in that instance, Jesus was prescribing individual surgery, not setting forth a universal diagnosis. If you will go on and read that parable in all of its dimensions and its symbolism, you will remember that the conversation took place between heaven and hell. And on the other end of that long distance call between heaven and hell was Abraham in heaven talking to Dives in hell. It wasn't a millionaire in hell talking to a poor man in heaven. It was a little millionaire in hell talking with a multimillionaire in heaven. Dives didn't go to hell because he was rich. His wealth was his opportunity to bridge the gulf that separated him from his brother Lazarus. Dives went to hell because he passed by Lazarus every day, but he never really saw him. Dives went to hell because he allowed Lazarus to become invisible. Dives went to hell because he allowed the means by which he lived to outdistance the ends for which he lived. Dives went to hell because he maximized the minimum and minimized the maximum. Dives finally went to hell because he sought to be a contentious objector in the war against poverty. Conscientious objector. What do you say? In times of moral crisis, those who maintain their neutrality. That's where the hottest parts of Haiti are reserved for those people who just don't do anything on either side, just lukewarm. And Dr. King talked a lot about standing for something and being willing to die for something. And he's saying that Dives finally went to hell for being a conscientious objector in the war against poverty. You got to pick a side, and not switch sides. And I come by here to say that America too, Dr. King, it ain't no dreaming here, is going to hell if she doesn't use her wealth. If America does not use her vast resources of wealth to end poverty and make it possible for all of God's children to have the basic necessities of life, she too will go to hell. And I will hear America through her historians, years and generations to come, saying, we built gigantic buildings to kiss the skies. We built gargantuan bridges to span the seas. Through our spaceships, we were able to carve highways through the stratosphere. Through all our airplanes, we were able to dwarf distance and place time in chains. Through our submarines, we were able to penetrate oceanic depths. It seems that I can hear the God of the universe saying, even though you have done all of that, I was hungry and you fed me not. I was naked and you clothed me not. The children of my sons and daughters were in need of economic security, and you didn't provide it for them, and so you cannot enter the kingdom of greatness. This may well be the indictment of America. And that same voice says in Memphis to the mayor, to the power structure, if you do not unto the least of these, of my children, you do it unto me. Now you are doing something else here. You are highlighting the economic issue. You're going beyond purely civil rights to question the human rights. That is a distinction. We fought for civil rights battles over the years. We've done many electrifying things. Montgomery, Alabama, in 1956, 50,000 black men and women decided that it was ultimately more honorable to walk the streets in dignity than to ride segregated buses in humiliation. 50,000 strong were substituted, and they were tired. Their feet were worn and their souls were tired. We walked the streets of that city for 381 days until the sagging walls of bus segregation were finally crushed by the battering rams of the forces of justice in 1960, by the thousands in this city and practically every city across the South. Students and even adults started sitting in at segregated lunch counters as they sat there. They were not only sitting down, but they were in reality standing for the best in the American dream and carrying the whole nation back to those great wells of democracy, which were dug deep by the founding fathers in the formulation of the Constitution and Declaration of Independence. So Dr. King the believer, Dr. King the dreamer, said America may be going to hell. He said America may be going to hell. So why is it so crazy to assume when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad talks about the destruction, when the Hebrew Israelites talk about nuclear destruction, when anybody talks about this New Jerusalem, this Babylon, this great Satan, this whore, figuratively speaking, where's everybody? I don't know, but you in here. Shouts out to you, Leonard Smith. And the book. Let me give you the book too. I want to always give you the books. I don't just want to be reading stuff. It's called The Radical King. The book is called The Radical King. I think Cornel West did the foreword for the text that I was just reading from. Yes, The Radical King. Try to get you the full title. Edited and introduced by Cornel West. The Radical King. That's the name of the book that has the speech in it about America may be going to hell. Greetings, Black Ghost. Greetings, Asiatic Black man. Make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe, and share. I'm going to do an entire video on this one here, the secret relationship between blacks and Jews. That one's coming very soon. I know there's a big talk about what they're trying to do with the minister. They said Amazon, well, this is just this volume 2 right here, because a lot of people have given speeches when volume 1 came out. Remember, volume 1 came out and there was an uproar back in the day, and a lot of people gave speeches about it and did debates. But volume 2 doesn't get as much attention. So I'm going to do volume 2. They thanked the minister. Yeah, they took the minister off Facebook and Instagram. Yes, sir. And they took this book off of Amazon at the same time. So we're going to do a whole, I'm not even going to touch this today. I'm not even going to touch this today. That's going to get one. This one right here is going to get one. Whole video. They got a problem with the truth. I'm going to do some pieces today that aren't as popular. But I want to make sure there's a distinction. I said, I got all these books behind me. I was watching what a lot of other people provide, either on our platform or in other places on social media. And I said, there's certain things that are unique, to my approach. And I think the ability to cite sources and deliver you accurate citations from text is something that I want to play to. I want to play to my strengths. So the first book that you might not be aware of is this book here. It's called A Curse Upon the Nation. A Curse Upon the Nation. This book is by Kay Wright Lewis, his sister right here. Go to our website and get the book. Yes. Oh, yeah, you definitely get the book. Yeah, we're going. They can't stop us from getting the book. So much truth been hidden from the Black nation. I agree. And this is what we do, too. It encourages us to be more engaged in cooperative economics. You shouldn't be getting a book like that from Amazon anyway. Let's keep it real, y'all. What you doing on Amazon getting that book? Like the brother saying, you need to go to the nation's website directly and support the brothers. Kay Wright Lewis, Today, I'm going to support my sister. Curses of the people. Yes, so much truth. So let me read you a little bit, just so I give you understanding. I want people to understand why I'm even suggesting these texts today. Some of y'all have heard about the lynching of Mary Turner, right? They talk about never forget Mary Turner. Oftentimes they'll show a meme, they'll show the sister hanging from the bridge, right? In books like Without Sanctuary, they talk about these kind of instances. But I want to give you a different interpretation of this event and give you a little bit of context. FlyNubianKingsTV.com, FlyNubianQueens.com. Text Queens to 31996. Like, subscribe, and share. 51 of y'all in the room, only 11 likes. Thumb it. Let's do a little something. I'm Aaron Smith, the Rapping Professor. Google your boy, Boyce Watkins. You got one right now. I'm reading from A Curse Upon the Nation. A Curse Upon the Nation. Race, freedom, and extermination in America and the Atlantic world. Race, freedom, and extermination in America and the Atlantic world. This piece about Mary Turner. I'm getting into it. I'm getting my professorial on today. We're doing that professor thing. Drop the keys, if you please. In the spring of 1918, Mary Turner made what a mob considered unwise remarks, in quotes, about the lynching of her husband. She wasn't even allowed to speak about the murder of her own husband without being endangered, who she claimed was innocent of any wrongdoing. Quote, the people took exceptions to her remarks as well as her attitude. Word to Sandra Bland. Members of the mob, out for vengeance for what they called, quote, personal outrages and violence, especially against helpless women and children, end quote, but not to be deterred from sending this message that no one in the Black community could seek legal or extra-legal justice and live. No one in the Black community could seek legal justice and live. Or extra-legal, but legal. This is 1918. This is how they felt in 1918. You can't go to court on us. You go to court trying to get us for killing your husband, we're going to get you. Some people say I look like Tommy Davidson. That's what I get the most. Remember Tommy Davidson was in an episode of Martin? He acted like that. I've seen our character. He said, did you miss me? All that. But seriously, back to our story. Mary Turner was not allowed to even defend the legacy, memory of her husband without them feeling like it should be a penalty of death. They took Mary from her house on a Sunday afternoon and strung her up by her ankles a few yards from Folsom's Bridge in Lowndes County, Georgia. Home of the original Black Panthers, right? They poured gasoline on her clothes and set her on fire. After the clothes were burnt off her body, Mary, who was 8 months pregnant at the time, was cut with a sharp instrument, her stomach being entirely opened. That's a quote. Miraculously, her 8-month-old infant was still alive, and it fell out of Mary's womb onto the ground. The baby made 2 cries, but then was crushed by the heel of a member of the mob. The formerly pregnant woman was riddled with bullets from high-powered rifles until it was no longer possible to recognize it as the body of a human being, end quote. Mary was not even allowed the dignity of being buried by her own kinfolk. Instead, she and her infant were buried by the mob, quote, 10 feet from the tree, end quote, with a whiskey bottle and a cigar stub marking the location of this particular brutal execution. 1918, never forget the ancestor, Mary Turner, who just wanted to stand by her man and defend her husband's legacy and innocence, and as a result was hung and burned and her womb cut open like they used to in 1620 and in 1720 and 1820s through the buck breaking and the slave breaking process. Even in the 1900s, in 1918, we hear this still happening. The womb of a pregnant Black woman upon her brutal murder being cut open and her baby being stomped to death by a mob that wants to talk about pro-life and protecting life and rights, who never understood. At least 11 other African Americans in this part of South Georgia were lynched, and more than 500 fled the region fearing for their lives. Most African Americans living in the South during Jim Crow era did not receive equal treatment from the criminal justice system. That did not deter Mary from speaking out, but clearly hundreds of other African Americans were so terrorized, rather than confront the lawless mobs, they left Lowndes County, horrified by the violence against black men, women, and children in the post-emancipation South had long complicated the history in America, and white slave Southerners knew that they had the upper hand politically. Whew. Yeah, what y'all think? I look like Tommy Davidson or Don Cheadle? Tommy, I gotta see whose story I'm gonna try to do, because whoever does the movie first, that's what I'm gonna try to be a stand-in at least if I can't get the lead role. Oh gosh, when the time comes, have no mercy. Some people say we should pray for justice. What book is that? I'm glad you asked. A Curse Upon the Nation. A Curse Upon the Nation. K. Wright Lewis. K. Wright Lewis. A Curse Upon. Somebody could type it in. We'll get a link while I'm doing this. A Curse Upon the Nation. Race, Freedom, and Extermination in America and the Atlantic World. Sister's name is K. Wright Lewis. That's her picture right there. Assistant Professor of History at Howard University. Any HU alum in the room? Shouts out to y'all. You know. A Curse Upon the Nation. And it's a couple years old. It's a newer text. Yeah, 2017. It's not old, but it's not on a lot of people's radar. But this is important work the sister's done. And I'm sure it doesn't help you, moving up the ladder when you're writing on stuff like this. So we got to make sure we support the sister. The silence surrounding the history and how and why radicalized violence toward African Americans became inscribed in race relations in America, continuing throughout the civil rights era, is entangled with how certain narratives are privileged over others in the production and creation of what is considered fact or truth. The erasure is made manifest by the countless testimonies of African Americans about the violence they experienced and the trauma that such violent events caused in their lives. We need to unearth these testimonies, whether it's the slave narratives or the enslaved Africans that gave their perspective on what happened during the bondage and period of imprisonment as prisoners of war, taken across the seas, and human trafficking under the threat of duress and coercion and even death and other types of violations. We need their stories to be heard. So today I'm going to take a lot of time to try to give voice to those who are actually often just, even those that are deified and that are iconic. Sometimes we don't do enough to resurrect their voices. We don't need just to respect Malcolm or to exalt Malcolm. We need to unearth Malcolm. We need to give life to the voice of Malcolm consistently, constantly. We don't just need the emblematic Martin or the dreamer Martin or the holiday Martin, or the symbolic Martin. We need to unearth Martin through his voice and continue some of the work that was articulated through, man, we're going to do it today. There's a historian called Claude Cleage, C-L-E-G-G, and he argues that white Americans saw blackness as a troubling counter-narrative that disrupted their vision of America as a neo-European preserve and precluded their ideas of ending slavery and implementing immediate emancipation. Whites' ideas about what would happen if Black Americans were given freedom and equality led to assertions of war of Black and white extermination during the 18th and 19th century. Ideas that shaped and nurtured racial violence well into the 20th century. Francis Cress Welsing, a lot of people try to get to the root of this. What is your issue? What is your problem? Even today, why do we have Philando Castile? Why is situations like Sandra Bland? Why is there Eric Garner? Why are you killing us even if we're not even talking to you, let alone aggressing towards you? We're selling cigarettes. We're not putting on a signal while we're changing lanes. We're playing with toy guns. What is your obsession with our extermination? What is your issue? What is your problem? Somebody said that is because not in Christianity teaches. Nelly Pooh said Christianity teaches mercy. They only practice their own religion. Why does the most let them get away with it? How long? Is it the Most High that lets people get away with it, or is it us? FlyNubianKingsTV.com, FlyNubianQueens.com. Text Queens to 31996. Stay in the mix, like, subscribe, or share. FlyNubianBusiness.com, FlyNubianMoney.com. I said before, the money we spent on Black Panther, we could have opened probably 100 schools. Nothing stopping us from getting plane tickets, from planting seeds, from arming ourselves, from divesting. Nothing stopping that. I don't even know if the Most High got too much to do with that. Giving you all the tools, literally took the chains off you. You got books, you got leaders, you got speakers, you got legal precedents. You got a whole history of starting science, math, engineering, architecture, spirituality. Like, all you got to do is go back to what you've been doing. The problem is we are reluctant, resistant, incapable, incompetent, ignorant about how to go back to ourselves. Because when we were ourselves, there was nothing they could do with us. Look at 1804 with Bookman, right? Haiti. They said, man, get the white men back their God. They declared themselves free, and the rest is history. Imagine that happened in Watts, in New Jersey, and Cuba, and Brazil, and Jamaica, and Zaire. And imagine everybody did what they did in Haiti and just declared themselves free. I ain't doing nothing you want me to do. I'm done here. Birdman style. As we finish this, we done. All 10 of y'all, Portuguese, Dutch, French, British, Belgium, all of y'all. We finish this, we done. Yeah, one man can't try it. Nipsey Hussle can't try it. Hundreds of millions of people throughout the diaspora have to try it. At least the critical mass. I'm not saying every single body. But that great divestment we talked about before is of critical importance. You can't fight your enemy while you feed your enemy. Unless you're feeding them poison like they did on a plantation. I mean, some of us need to come together, right? Darthard Perry, the agent provocateur, when he's talking to Gil Noble Like It Is, said every agent had at least 4 to 7 people assisting him, to paraphrase. He said there's more informants than there were agents. And most of the informants look like us. Okay. Reading again from A Curse Upon the Nation. The foundation of race-based violence in America emanated from a type of warfare used for centuries by Europeans and even some Africans. What today we call total warfare. Military historian John Grenier calls it unlimited war, or petite guerre, Guerre, is a strategy where one side attempts to destroy its enemy's will. Remember they were talking about shock and awe with Saddam Hussein? Scorched earth, right? You've heard that term. Well, here they call it unlimited war, a strategy where one side attempts to destroy its enemy's will to fight by killing and intimidating the enemy's non-combatant populations, namely women, children, and the elderly. But for Europeans, extermination referenced the killing of women and children generally. In Europeans' view, West African nations practiced extermination and war as well, according to them. Thus, historically, the term extermination was used to describe the envisioned slaughter of large populations of white and black people in the Atlantic world. The institution of African enslavement, as it was practiced, was always poised to disintegrate into an exterminatory war. Wow. The institution of African enslavement, as it was practiced, was always poised. They were ever ready to disintegrate into an exterminatory war. A war that white Americans were determined black Americans would lose. Always ready to wipe us all out. Whether you're corralled into these inner cities, off of these highways so people can always get the tanks. Ever ready. King Alfred plan. Let's stop right there. Tell me y'all know the King Alfred plan. I'm still going to put it in there. Y'all know it. Talking about extermination, right? Could have been a whole video unto itself. But if America does go to hell, we need to find out. And this is what people love to say. People love to say things like, oh, that's not real. All right, the King Alfred plan isn't real. Willie Lynch isn't real. Meritorious manumission was real. The story of Mary Turner was real. The lynchings were real. The burnings were real. The castrations were real. The human trafficking was real. The infiltration was real. The deportations were real. The putting their heads on sticks, like they did after Harper's Ferry along the highway, to send a message to the other enslaved Africans after they decapitated many of the people that were with Nat Turner and put their heads on poles and put the poles along the thoroughfare. That was real. The spectacle lynching of Claude Neal, where they broke off his fingers after cutting off his genitalia and stuffing it into his mouth and trying to make him eat it. After they burned him and shot him. And come on. That was real. So some of the stuff people talk about, they're like, oh, that specific point is not completely accurate in it. Man, whether you call it the King Alfred plan, COINTELPRO, Agenda 21, Executive Order 2000, whatever you're talking about. Whether you talk about the FEMA trailers and the concentration camps and whatever you call it, man, it don't matter. Some people get more into the name than into the act. Somebody says, Israel is your identity. Identity is the key. We have many identities. We have Igbo. We have Wolof. We have Hausa. We have Moor. We have Hebrew. What do you mean? I don't even understand it. Help me out, Abram. Help me out. Because last I checked, we had the most identities on the planet. Original man, that's one. The original man and woman of the planet Earth. Some will say the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, the father of civilization, the gods of the universe. That's an identity, ain't it? When you look at Newt, when you look at Asar and Aset, that's an identity, I thought. It identifies what the people look like and where they came from. Too many identities. No, we don't need one. No, that's not true. We need one identity to do what? To live a righteous life, to resist our enemy. You need one identity to do that. In World War II, people had different economic systems, different religions, lived on different continents, had different forms of government and leadership, and still came together in a life and death struggle against the Nazis. What are you talking about? Everything was different about them. Their identities were different. They called them Axis and Allies. They just got together. They only needed one thing in common, and they can get together despite everything else being different. What are you talking about? It's called World War II. Look it up. They spoke a different language, different economic system, had different identities, different political structures, a different cultural history, different food, different music, different continents, and they still got together in a life and death struggle against it. What are you talking about? I don't understand you. It makes no sense. The same way they did in World War I and World War II. People find one thing that they have in common, usually a common enemy. That's how they did it, not how we do it. I'm showing you history. Best served reward all research. The commonality is a common enemy. Malcolm said they don't come at you because you're a Mason or an Elk. They don't come at you because you're a Christian or a Muslim. They come at you because you what? Family? Put it in the room. Why did Malcolm say they attack us? Because of our identity? Or lack thereof? No offense to my Moorish brothers and sisters. Did he say it was about because you're black? There you go. There's your identity. You need to find if it fits you, look in the mirror. You ever get pulled over? They'll let you know your identity right away. Done deal. It's the easiest identifier on the planet. That's why we're always in trouble. When they come over here, they can act like they're not Jewish and change their name. Other people can act like they, heterosexual. They think that people are intolerant to their lifestyle. Everybody else can mask and adapt. We got one that's easy, bro. That's the easiest one. What are you talking about? What's our identity? Note to self. Mirrors are great. Come on, man. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. World War II. Just look it up, bro. They got together. One thing, they got together. Many times, many nations get together throughout history, whether it's because to resist famine, common military enemy, the rising tides. We talk about the Aswan Dam and all that, and the Nile Valley civilizations. If everybody knows this thing about the flood, everybody, then we're gonna make sure we all do what we gotta do in the meantime to make sure that when the tide rises, we all good. You ever get stuck in an elevator with somebody? Have you ever been stuck in an elevator with somebody? You become friends immediately. You know why? Because you both want to get the hell out. As simple as that. I don't care where you're from. You put me in an elevator with 5 people. They're my best friends. We got a common cause. We're going to struggle, work, share food, get on each other's back to climb out. We're working together. So the only thing you need to do is recognize the reality of your condition. Once you realize you're in a proverbial trapped elevator that might be in a building that's on fire, then you get to work and you stop playing games and focusing on insignificant particulars, recording in insignificant particulars that can further divide people. You need to focus on the common bond that can keep you together. The common bond is your oppression. The common bond is your blackness. The common bond is the root of Mother Africa that has all of the people throughout the diaspora connected. That's your identity. However you want to label that, now we talking. Woo! Fly Nubian Queens, FlyNubianKingTV.com. Text Queens to 31996. Get up in the mix. Like, subscribe, and share. Now, when we talk about the labels, a label is different than an identity. I can call this a text. I can call it a pamphlet. I can call this a work. I can call this a book. Guess what they all are, though? The same. You say, no, they're not the same. One's a pamphlet, one's a text, one's a book. Man, now you playing. You see. I'll do it again. This is literature. This is information. This might be someone's dissertation. They books, bro. You know how I know? Because of how I respond to them. I read them all. So how it's responded to dictates the identity to a greater extent than the label placed on it. Whoa! Thank you, Abram. I helped somebody. You helped a whole bunch of people just now. Use that analogy next time somebody want to talk that talk. They're all books, bro. They're all black, bro. You can call them anything you want to call them, but their identity marked by the aggression against them. How about this? I got a better one for you. How is the enemy so effective at oppressing us before we show them our sovereignty card, before we tell them what land we immigrated from, before we confess our religious beliefs, before we talk about, quoting Bibles or Qurans? How do they know so well? How are they so good at pulling us over and killing us and choking us out and murdering us within 2 seconds in Park Square? How do they know? Obviously, there's something that we don't even need to say that identifies us readily. If you can't be as sophisticated as your enemy in the process of identifying yourself, then you got a problem. I'm going to help you with that problem today. I'm going to let you know, look through the eyes of a cop. They identify us all the same. You tell me the police can identify us as the same when they come to kill us, but we can't identify ourselves as the same when we seek liberation? Talk to me, bro. Talk to me, bro. You got a good one. I'm different. You telling me the police could just know exactly, that's one of them, whatever the label is. That's one of them. Whoop, whoop. That's one of them. Pop, pop. That's one of them. Choke, choke. So the police, they get high school diplomas, a few college credits, and they masters of identity. But we, with all these, degrees and conversations and websites and social, we can't get, man, come on, bro. No offense, but I'm beyond that. I look at them, I say, wow, they see that it's a them and an us. But we can't see it's an us and a them. It's a shame, Brother Abram. It's a shame that some of us still confused about that. I'm not denying the fact that some people are confused, though. You're right. That's why I'm on here. But you need to look at what I just said and be like, wow, that's kind of true. A cop with 20 college credits can identify all of us, whether we from Africa, whether we Moors, whether we Hebrew Israelites, whether we Nation of Islam. They put us all in one boat. Literally. Historically, they put us all in one boat. They didn't have a problem identifying us since 1619 when they brought us over here at Fort Comfort in Virginia. They had no problem identifying us. We have the problem. A person who just got to Africa last week has no problem identifying who is who because they don't get too deep. They make it easy for themselves by saying them, us. That's why they had an organization called the US Organization, right? Maulana Karenga, founder of Kwanzaa, the US Organization. So maybe you're not part of the US Organization, but you need to know that you're part of the us when it comes to us and them. That was great. Appreciate you for that, Abram. That was a good lesson. So when we talk about text Queens at 31996, flynubianqueens.com. See what else y'all say. I like talking with y'all today. Yes, it was spiritual systems, but I understand exactly what you're saying, Antonio. Yes, the juju, the voodoo, and the the ancestors. Yeah, no, exactly. That's Shanae's. How did I say it right? Yeah, they don't care. We all black. We try to get particular and specific. That's somebody going to a place that only got one thing on the menu. That's like going to the cotton candy, cart, and you arguing with your lady about what you about to get because she want to call it, I don't know, sweet cotton swab, and you calling it cotton candy. Like what? It's the same. It's only one thing there, dog. Everybody sees it the same way. I don't care what you call it. You're getting the same thing, same treatment, regardless. I want a cotton swab. I want cotton candy. Well, we gotta agree before we eat. No, you can both just go ahead and eat. It don't matter. The label ain't. You're getting the same thing, dog. Just order. Order. Right? We didn't start using black. Okay. Yeah, whatever they did. Black and more, the Hebrew. You never catch me up in that one. Dr. Malefi Kete Asante, the first person to start a PhD program in the world for African American studies, he calls it sciencing. You ever meet somebody that got all the science in the world but can't get $5 to feed themselves? Martin Lawrence joked about that in his special, You So Crazy, when he was like, yeah, the black man, the brother and the blood man, you got $5 I can borrow. Like after all that talking, it's like, man, you can't, you're not even clean. Like I can smell you. Stop getting so deep with the quasars and tell me the Earth is 6 trillion tons and the mothership is coming and all this other stuff, but your collar is dirty and you got 5 kids, you ain't seen them in 5 years. Like, leave me alone with the science. And I don't do the depth that distracts from progress. Some people get so wrapped up in this little things, little hamster wheel of what do we call ourselves? What do we call ourselves? Like them little marching monkeys with the tambourines, bump into something and turn around, bump into something and turn around. And some black people be like that. Every week they something new. Boom, I'm something new. Come through the house, boom. They get locked up, boom, another conversion. Man, come on, man. Come on, man. We talk about character and the quality of contributions. And then we can do label. Label, you know what it is? It's like putting a cherry on a sundae, man. It's a cherry, man. In this larger fight for revolution and liberation of African people worldwide, it's a cherry, man. Go over to Cuba. They got 20 different names for the black people, but they all black people, man. You know, the Morena, no, Chicona, okay, right? We're not going to stay right there. No, man, come on. Focus on the fact that all these people are being oppressed by. They call it drawing a lens back. Get a bird's eye view, man. Peep. There's a song called Hail Mary by Tupac. And when one of the outlaws says, peep the whole scene and whatever's going on around me, right? Peep the whole scene, man. Zygmunt Brzezinski calls it the grand chessboard. In order to play chess, you got to know what's happening, know all the capabilities of all the pieces, see the entire board at all times, and know that you need to think maybe 5 to 20 moves in advance. Like, that's what we're doing over here. We ain't like, yo, your rook got a scratch on it. We can't play this chess game because my rook doesn't have a scratch. Your rook has a scratch. They're identified. Man, out of here, bruh. You ever play chess outside? The pieces be all scuffed up. Come on, man. Because we know what the game is, regardless of how the pieces look and are labeled. We still know the rules of the game. And we know that it's important to win. Get on the winning side. Think about winning. Your label going to give you victory. Your label going to make you win. Your label going to keep us alive. The mortality rate for black women is the lowest of any demographic. What's your label doing with that? Whether you call them Moorish women, true Israelite women, they still dying at the same alarming, disproportionate rate. Let's move beyond the nonsense and deal with the pragmatic realities of our condition. Identity. Identifies the people who, according to every metric of measurement in terms of quality of life, rank on or at the lowest on the planet Earth. Whether it's health, whether it's death, whether it's addiction, whether it's abuse, whether it's neglect, whatever it is, we on or near the bottom at every metric. That's the only identity I care about. Because we all there, regardless of how you wrap your head up, what book you got under your arm, or what you calling yourself when you look in the mirror, we still on the bottom. So you want to focus more time on the name than the fact that, get out of here, man. That's why I'm where I'm at, and other people still talking twice my age. Because I said, if it don't yield tangible results, it's guns and butter, man. It's guns and butter. You know what they call you when they put their chains on you? C7-21588. Go figure. You done called yourself the Grand Potentate, Sheikh Al-Hebrim, Honest Dean, Master of God Allah, Hebrew Pharaoh, everything else. They put the damn cuffs on you. They give you a number like you a piece of meat in a supermarket with a barcode on your damn forehead. Did your label ever get you free? Stop playing, man. Yeah, they call you N-words, cool, everything else. We getting locked up in labels. What's our identity? What's your identity? Get all of them, man. Who saw that Khalid Muhammad speech when he said, I'm a Moor? He said, I'm a Muslim. He said, I'm a revolutionary. I'm a Panther. He's like, come on, whatever. I'm fighting. I'm here to fight for my people. You ain't catching me up in it. I remember that speech. Khalid Muhammad was like, he said, well, he shouted out the Moors and everybody. I'm with all y'all. Because when they come in to exterminate all of us. So we might as well at least recognize that fact before we start delineating and getting all specific with nuance and rhetoric. And no. We ain't gonna have no debate about nomenclature while they coming to murder our babies. That's like I said it before. Your stove is on fire. Your house is flooding because the water's on. Water leaking through the ceiling because the tub is about to come through the roof because the tub is running, overflowing. And then you hear somebody knocking the door. They got a delivery from Grubhub. You look me in my face and say, I got to go get that. I order some wings. I say, oh, you's a dumb one. The stove on fire. The sink about to fall through the ceiling. And there's a knock at the door. And in which order do you address all of these things? I didn't even say it's not worth addressing. It's about prioritizing, man. At some point, yeah, we're going to talk names. At some point. But if the stove is on fire, the sink's about to fall through the ceiling, and you got to knock at the door, you already walking to the knock at the door. Oh, what's our names? Who goes there? What you doing, man? I said the stove. They're killing our babies, homie. They're killing our babies. You talking about, but yeah, what their names when they're killing them? All right, bro. What's their identity when they get killed? Come on, man. Prioritize. I'm a swift pragmatist. I talk about strategy all the time. This ain't that. The one that's going to get caught up in it. Well, I think this name is better suited for that. I think this name is it. Can't buy nothing, can't start nothing. Those be like the Negroes that was hating on Booker T, but then Booker T leaves and got an institution that's still educating and empowering black people. Everybody else giving fiery speeches and doing the pre-troll trolling, and all they did was rile people up and didn't start nothing. At least Malcolm would go and start a mosque when he went. You know, that's a difference between Malcolm and some of the other so-called, preachers of the day. Malcolm would go and understand the importance of institutions and economics. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught that. Self-help for real, not just a self-feel-good. Now we got self-pleasuring, intellectual masturbation. It feels so good. You cussed them out, or you told them, or you gave me another name. Now I got 6. Like, come on, man. How are we going to grow some food? How are we going to feed the babies? How are we going to protect ourselves when they come the same way they came for the last 9 or 10 people that we made T-shirts about? Tell me that. Then we talk about labels. After that, after the border is secured, anybody be involved in military? Anybody who served in the military, please get in the room and talk with me. Tell me that if you let them contaminate your water supply or cut off your energy supply, it doesn't matter how many bullets you got. They can just wait you out and win the war without firing one shot. The things got to be done in order. The first thing you do is secure the parameter, right? And know the enemy that you fight. Come on, man. These things are more important than saying, well, what color are our uniforms going to be when we get back? Come on, man. What my name is spelled wrong with the bang, bang, bang. You know what I mean? That's how it sounds. You on the battlefield, in the trenches, facing an advancing enemy, and you reading your name tag talking about, y'all need to get this identity right. It says Smythe instead of Smith. Pow, 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 pow. Right? Come on, man. I'm going to worry about that when I get back. I'm going to worry about that, but for now, we black. Holla at your boy, man. Holla at your boy. Tell boys he got one. They don't talk it like I talk it. I'll make it so plain and so clear and so irrefutable that he will give you a mouth that your enemies will not be able to gainsay nor resist, and I have that mouth. Think about it. You are in the trenches in war, and you're looking at your name tag instead of looking up at the enemy coming to kill you. If that ain't an analogy for that, FlyNubianBusiness.com, FlyNubianMoney.com, ShopFNQ.com, and log on. Let me see what y'all saying. Black, Negro, all that, right? I don't even know what the point is. Maybe Game Changer is just trolling. The only common thing is human, but with a lot of identities, I guess. India, yes, but India are darker than Africans. Don't know what that means. Talking about the Dravidians, the Untouchables, the first African presence in India that gave birth to those nations, like the Negritos in Asia, or like when David Imhotep II says the first Americans were Africans. Yes, people left Africa and populated the rest of the world. I don't know, maybe it's not common. But yeah, people left Africa with the same face they had when they left. They got to where they got. So when people left Africa with their African face and got to India, yeah, you're all welcome. When people left Africa with their same African face and got to China, yeah. When people left Africa with their African face, they had the same face that they had when they got to the so-called New World. Yeah. 2/3 of human history occurred on the continent of Africa. So if you start world history and you start talking about literature and all that other stuff, and you start in Greece, you are omitting, I call it oppression through omission, or you are omitting 2/3 of human history. Dr. Molefi Kete Asante explains this brilliantly in a speech called Decolonizing the University that I put in the room often, and it's only like a 14-minute video that breaks the whole thing down. Maybe I'll get that while I talk about how important it is to not get tripped up and be talking like there's a real polygenetic theory. Remember, they had a polygenetic theory that tried to say that Indians popped up and Asians popped up and white people popped up. And many of these members of these groups still act like this today. They don't act like they owe an ultimate debt to their own existence and humanity to African people. You can tell by the way they treat black people. Woo! Let's get it started. I didn't come to play. You got no respect for your mothers and your fathers of civilization. For life. You can tell when somebody got proper respect, even when they get involved in things like hip hop. You can tell who has really done their homework and respects the art, and you can tell who's just in there appropriating. So I'm gonna put this video in here. Decolonizing the University, Molefi Kete Asante, the first person on the planet Earth to have a doctoral program in African American studies. So every doctoral or PhD program in African American studies around the world owe a great debt to this great man. Common enemy. There's a lot of common enemies. Rising tide lifts all boats. I don't know what that's from. I don't know who said anything about that, but you can definitely expound. Did we give ourselves what ID? I think I did the ID thing. I done hammered that to the ground. I love that one with the name tag. If you can respect that, then your perspective is whack in Jay-Z's words. We weren't always black. Nope, we sure weren't. And that's great. But we were oppressed. I don't understand what you're talking about. We're older than black. So what? We're older than labels. Ooh. Ooh. We're older than labels. We're older than language. We're older than speech. We're older than identity. Now what? Do we go back to that? Don't go back halfway. Don't say we're older than black. We're older than whatever you're going to say too. We're older than anything. So now what? Now we play a stupid hamster wheel game, proverbial nonsense, and recreate. No, man, it's the Matrix. They say, miss me with the bullshit, man. Esau's our enemy. And see, Charlene's on it because it's like, no matter what you call the enemy, whether you call it the devil, Esau, the white man, the government, who made the government, who structured the government, who made sure the government worked against the interests of African people. So however we frame it, as long as we know what direction we fight it in, racism, white supremacy, institutional, whatever you want to call it, I'm not as concerned about what you call it. When somebody comes to Haiti after the earthquake to grab these babies and take them, to traffic them and molest them, I need us to be on code. How about that? When they come to DC or Philadelphia, to snatch some little girls and little boys up, I just need us to be on point. Can we get a website, watchdog, a network, a system of cameras, an alert system, right? They got Amber Alert. We need melanated alerts. We need to make sure that, can we do some work that's really going to have some, y'all ain't never think of that? You just waiting on them to use their cameras to help us? Since when? Since when? So we need to get involved with the technology. We need to get involved in the military sphere. We need people who are involved in the Ministry of Information. We need a network to stop our babies from being raped and abducted and trafficked and miseducated while they're here. Those are the kind of things I deal with. I deal with those kind of things. Teach the babies, protect the babies, respect the sisters, get the money together, and then talk about all that other stuff, man. People love it. That other stuff is where they stay. That's their main place. I say it's superlative, man. It's like a cherry. Can you imagine a whole bomb sundae? Anybody in here not like cherries? What do you do when you get your sundae and cherries on it? You take the cherry off, then you scrape a little bit of whipped cream that's red, and you put that to the side, and you eat, man. You don't focus on the dang cherry. You'll be sitting there like, whole sundae melting. You like, this cherry, what? Where they do that at? I just talked to you about human trafficking, molestation, babies being murdered, everything from Tamir Rice to Sandra Bland to Eric Garner to disproportionate mortality rates for pregnant African women. They don't get the same attention in the medical profession. They think they're impervious to pain and don't treat them the same way. There's more deaths, there's more infant mortality, there's less medication, and that's just healthcare. They've devalued our houses. The new report says by like on average, $48,000 in Black communities that are comparable to white communities. The redlining continues. Like, come on, man. We talk about this major fight for reparations, and some people always talk about our identity. Come on, bro. I can give you 30 more. I could do an hour just rattling these off like a Winchester. I could keep giving them to you. They say this, they say that, they say this, they whitewash this, they whitewash that. They get the right of return. We support Israel. We support that. We support this. Our tax dollars went to COINTELPRO. We should get reparations for that because we were paid to be neutralized and infiltrated. Like, we could do this all day. It didn't matter what your identity back then was Panther, was us organization. It was the socialist movement, the communists. It didn't matter. The same attacks. Hoover was against the women's movement, the American Indian movement, the gay movement, the Black Power movement, the socialist movement, the communist movement. They didn't delineate and come on. These separations, there's this Tower of Babel approach to revolution makes me question people's intention. You authoring confusion. You authoring confusion. If I ask everybody in this room to name their top 3, nobody's going to say my name. That's not your top 3. Not when you're being killed. Not when you're being killed. Can't be a top 3. Let me put the statistics for sexual assault and gender violence and molestation up there. And I bet you if that ain't 2 of your top 3, something might be wrong with you. They say every 2 seconds this happens. Every 15 seconds, every 10 minutes this happens, right? Every day. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Because some people want to play, and I bring it right back down. I'm gonna slam you back down to earth. Rate of sexual assault. And when other people get a cold, we get the flu. 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted just while in college alone. Man, that's grown folks. We ain't talking about the children yet. Let's do child sexual abuse. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before they turn 18 years old. So you got 4 children? Don't talk to me about the nonsense, y'all. Don't do it. Like, leave me alone with that. Get on someone else's page with that. I dealt with it, and I'm cool on that. When I read a statistic like this, 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before they turn 18. 34% of people who are sexually abused as a child, 34% of people who sexually abuse a child are family members. So we need to talk family, because the whole family usually got the same darn title. The whole family is whatever you saying they should be. And guess what? They still can't keep their darn hands off the babies. So let's talk more about them keeping their hands off the babies than what's on their t-shirt or on their hat while they're doing it. Did I make myself clear to the people who want to talk about professional? Your professionals are petty. Your professionals are pettiness. You got PhDs in pettiness. Not for a minute do you going to talk about what I just talked about. The people that talk about the labels and the titles, they'll never go here. 34% of people sexually abusing children are family members. What should we call ourselves? Call them child molesters and let's deal with it. Did we come before that too? 12% of the women were aged 10 or younger at the time of their first rape. Really, you see, I want y'all to see why I'm not playing when people say the nonsense. What should we call ourselves? Come on, man. Is that the most important thing to you? Maybe that is to you. But when I read statistics like I just read, that's more important to me. That's more important to me. I got children, and that's more important to me. That's like my top 5. And I didn't even get into how many women are getting beat up and all that. Like, I can keep going. Don't matter what you call me if you're not paying me, if I'm unemployed, if I'm homeless, it don't matter what you calling me while I don't got nowhere to live. No matter what you call me if I'm facing 25 to life for something I ain't do. Like, come on. Like, come on, y'all. Come on. There's too many of us that's pulling too hard for y'all to still be back there on some Moses in the desert. Whether you believe in the Bible or not, you can learn from the allegory and the story. Too many people dying, getting martyred, and pulling y'all for y'all to be like, well, which way should I go? Which way should I go? You know, at some point, man, just go there. Even a dog do that. You ever pull a dog on a leash and they be trying to pull the other way and then they start choking themselves because they start pulling the wrong way? Because the leadership is pulling you the right way. But the dog is so ignorant that the dog starts pulling backwards and the dog starts choking itself on his own leash. And at some point, the dog starts losing air to the point it says, well, let me just follow the leader. And then they get in the house and they get something to eat and they lay the hell down. And they be like, man, I shouldn't have been resisting that. Some things I should resist. Some things I should. The analogies is coming hard and heavy today, y'all. These analogies is coming hard and heavy today. How should we end it? North Philly, shouts out. Who from North Philly? You up at Temple University right now. Shout out to them hot back blocks on North Broad. Okay. No, let's not talk about it. We're not doing titles. Malcolm said, put your religion in the closet. Does anybody in the room have love for Malcolm? Because my thing is, if you respect me, if you love me, then listen to me. If Malcolm said this is what we need to do, and none of us do it, but we all champion Malcolm. We all talk Malcolm, but we eating pork chops, snacking all damn day, and putting our religion, our identity in front of the struggle. Well, Malcolm said, put that in the closet. Let's get to talking about some things. We can go to the UN and talk about human rights. That's why we haven't been to the UN and talk about human rights. We too busy on 125th Street talking about identity. Twice my age. Can't see you in a cycle. You on the same corner, bro. It's been 5 years I was watching you on YouTube. I haven't seen you build one institution. I haven't seen you start building one nation. Followers don't count. Subscribers ain't what we talking about. We take it to another level. I haven't even seen a genuine call to action on any level. If people were doing lectures on YouTube, man, I'm going to end it with a rare one. I don't know where you can get this one. I got it. I'm gonna read it right to you. It's a Young Socialist pamphlet. Says Malcolm X talks to young people. Malcolm X talks to young people. 35 cents at the time. I'm assuming 65. Malcolm X talks to young people. 1964. Oh, he printed it. Third printing. I got a copy of third printing. It's 1968. We're gonna end it like this because maybe you'll listen. Because people like the image of Malcolm, but let's. I'm gonna do Malcolm's address to the young people. We'll do two little quick portions and wrap it up like that. FlyNubianQueens.com, FlyNubianKings.com. Let me do a little bit from Malcolm Talks to Young People. The following is part of a speech given by Malcolm X on December 31st, 1964 at the Hotel Teresa. In his audience were 37 teenagers from Macomb, Mississippi, who were on an 8-day trip to New York. The trip was sponsored by the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee for those youth who have been outstanding in the civil rights struggle in their area. Malcolm says, one of the first things I think young people, especially nowadays, should learn is how to see yourself and see for yourself and listen for yourself and think for yourself. Then you can come to an intelligent decision for yourself. If you form the habit of going by what you hear others say about someone or going by what others think about someone, instead of searching that thing out for yourself and seeing for yourself, you will be walking west when you think you're going east. And you'll be walking east when you think you're going west. This generation, especially our people, has a burden more so than any other time in history. The most important thing that we can learn to do today is think for ourselves. It's good to keep wide open ears and listen to what everybody else has to say, regardless of their title. But when you come to make a decision, you have to weigh all what you've heard on its own and place it where it belongs and come to a decision for yourself. I said place it where it belongs. And when I talk about prioritizing with the stove on fire and with the sink flooding and a knock at the door. So if people are killing your babies in the street and then molesting each other in the home, family members, I ain't got time to do too much about what our titles is, because our title is afflicted. Our title is backwards. Our title is abusive, and our title needs to change. And it says you'll never regret it. But if you form the habit of taking what someone else says about the thing without checking it for yourself, you'll find that other people will have you hating your friends and loving your enemies. This is one of the things that our people are beginning to learn today. That it is very important to think out a situation for yourself. If you don't do it, you'll always be maneuvered into a situation where you are never fighting your actual enemy, where you will find yourself fighting your own self. Now he talks about, he said, I wanted to point this out because it is important for you to know that when you're in Mississippi, you're not alone. He wanted to share that with the people. He said, that doesn't mean that we're against white people, but we sure are against the Ku Klux Klan, the White Citizens Council, and anything that looks like it is against us. We're against it. See that? The titles didn't matter. He's against the KKK. You can call yourself KKK. You can call yourself White Citizens Council. He said, or anything that looks like it. You say, oh, I'm a progressive. Well, you look like the KKK. I'm a white liberal. You look like the White Citizens Council. Because I'm judging people by their actions, not their title. This is Malcolm now. Anything that looks like it's against us, we're against it. Excuse me for raising my voice, but this thing, you know, gets me upset. Imagine that a country that's supposed to be a democracy, supposed to be for freedom and all of that kind of stuff, when they want to draft you and put you in the army and send you to Iraq, said Saigon, to fight for them, and then you got to turn around and all night long discuss how you're going to get the right to register to vote without being murdered, why, that's the most hypocritical government since the world began. This is Malcolm talking to the young people. He didn't spend a lot of time talking about titles in this speech. He talked about a common enemy and a need to come together based on a common oppression. You are oppressed. That's your title. Your title is colonized. Your title is oppressed. Your title is marginalized. Your title is disproportionately incarcerated. Your title is disproportionately molested and raped and abused. Your title is underpaid and overworked. Your title is last hired and first fired. Your title is descendant of formerly enslaved Africans. Your title is children of the African diaspora. Your title is America's going to hell. They don't get their mind right, and black people going to hell if we don't realize there's some things far more important in this world than what people are calling us. And I would argue that one of them is how people treat us and what they do to us and what we have access to and how they exploit us for our labor, our natural resources, and even our organs. People taking people's organs out their bodies, and some are arguing killing them as a motivation. But what's our title? The man was found in the gym mat. Remember that gym mat? And the brother was in the gym. They found him, dead, wrapped in a gym mat. And they said that he got stuck in there because he fell in there. But then they found all this blunt force trauma all over the brother's body. Let me get the article before I leave. I hate to not say it right. Black man in gym mat. On January 11, 2013, the body of Kendrick Johnson was discovered inside a rolled gym mat in a gymnasium in Lowndes County, but this is in Valdosta. We were reading about, we started with Lowndes County, and ironically, this is a different Lowndes County. Oh, no, the same Lowndes County. Oh, shoot. Ain't that deep, y'all? That's how the creator works, huh? That's deep. We took it full circle to Lowndes County. I had no idea. The brother was found in the gym mat. They exhumed the body. Remember, they found newspaper in the brother's body instead of his organs? Y'all can look that up. Death of Kendrick Johnson. Gym mat death shocker. Body stuffed with newspaper. I got the CNN report right here. Gym mat death shocker. Body stuffed with newspaper by Victor Blackwell and Devon Sayers. Autopsy shocked, teen's organs removed, cavity filled with newspaper. We thought we were burying Kendrick, not half of Kendrick, the father says. Kendrick Johnson was found dead in a rolled gym mat in January. His death was ruled an accident. A private autopsy challenged those findings. Not worry about titles, man. What did they call him before they killed him? Did they call him Hebrew Israelite? Did they call him Moor? Did they call him FOI? What did they call him before they rolled him in that gym mat? Probably NIG. I'm Aaron Smith, the rapping professor. I call it bottom block talk, like the game of Jenga. Don't tell me about picking these blocks off the top. What's your title? What's your this? What's your that?